All right, listen up. I'm going to give you guys the shortcut. I'm going to give you guys the tip, the tools of the trade within this spirituality stuff. I'm going to simplify it for you because it is simple at its root. That's all there is to it. Do you actually want to know? Because when you're out here chasing after all of this other stuff, whatever it is, even spiritual teachings that you think hold some salvation for you, you're kind of ironically getting further away from the core teaching. So I was kind of meditating earlier, and some stuff dropped in, and I was like, there was a video that I did, and I kind of glossed over this simplicity, this very simple way of perception and simple way of being that is really the most advanced and most powerful way of being. It's advanced because it's simple. Just because something's simple doesn't mean it's easy, okay? Being simple, you know how like you'll say, oh, that guy, he's simple, you know, like slow or something. No, being simple means having removed all of this karmic layer stuff. Not all of it. I mean, guys, as you're living, you're still incurring karma, but you're minimizing it, and you know, the ebbs and the flows of what we would consider good and bad karma in our minds, like all of that, whatever. But when you, more accurately, when you actually see what's going on in your own life, and then this magic thing where now it happens also around you, okay, shifts the entire way you live, and there's no going back. And it's a scary process sometimes, and it's gonna fuck you up, like I say. So the one thing that I mentioned that was kind of simple and I kind of glossed over it, and that I'm gonna be doing a deeper dive into in this video as an example, was the most simple advanced way of being is you're in life, you're present in the moment, your mind is still, you're observing, primarily you're observing yourself, kind of in relation to all of this stuff. And then you're making your best course corrections, your choices, perceived choices, because there also is the illusion of choice and the illusion of free will. And so if you guys wonder, in my earlier videos, I touch on the illusion of free will versus destiny and all these types of things. So if you wonder about that, go watch those videos, but I'm not going to go into that here. What I am going to go into is the simplicity of perception, the most advanced way of being. Why? And it's so simple that you're gonna gloss over it. You've come across this shit. If you've been on the spiritual path to any degree, and you've read all the different shit, and you've watched all the videos, and you've done all the retreats and whatever, you know this stuff. But I'm gonna focus on it because you need to focus on it. I focused on it myself. That's how I realized this shit. That's how you see all the extracurricular bullshit that you're diving balls deep into all the time, that's taking you off of your own internalized path, ironically. The path, when you're chasing, is still the same path, because that path that you're chasing shit in is leading to the suffering that is teaching you, hey man, this suffering stuff doesn't feel so good. How do I eliminate some of that suffering in my life? It's like this whole Buddhist mentality, right? Yeah. If you look at Jesus and how he lived, and you look at Buddha and how he lived, and if you look at the two of them and how they live, and you compare and contrast them, you're going to notice one central theme between both of them. They were simple dudes. Simple. The most advanced way of being is the simplicity of being. It's with you always. It's been with you the whole fucking time. So like I talk a lot about like people, you know, on these videos on YouTube, and people going, all of these different niche things that may or may not vibe with you mentally in your own conditioning, right? Law of attraction, prophetic word, you know, mantras, and anything that you can think of that someone's saying, this is what you need to do to improve your life and to have your desires fulfilled and all these things, all that shit's a joke. Don't you get that yet? the realized one, every fucking master that has come before us, any great yogi, any great Jesus or Buddha, any person up there, these advanced souls that have come in to teach us, okay? They realized the simplicity of their own lives. They were the ones, just like I was saying, where they're walking in life, they're fully aware of themselves in relation to the external world. There's the ebb and the flow of your internal state of being and the external state of being, and it becomes one. That's the union. But there's also another level and layer to this union, yoga, bliss, which exists in the unseen. I'm not talking about just the physical manifest around you and you're one with that. Yeah, that's just the physical level. There's also the unseen dimension within you, your internal energy, this chi stuff, this prana stuff, right? That stuff is more unseen. Your light. Like, we see light externally, but there's also an internal light that we're not consciously aware of all the time. Well, what happens now, this trippy thing that happens, is your reality shifts from external perception, 3D perception, physical perception, buying into all this physical shit all the fucking time and looking for stuff in that external world that fulfills you. And now you're like, oh, this whole fucking, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm just here. And then wherever I am. And whatever I do. And there's no what's overcomplicating it is this fucking restless mind that you have not yet learned how to quiet. So, the advanced thing, most advanced, like, you guys want the fucking shortcut? You want to cut through all the layers of bullshit and baggage? You want to get rid of that? You want to really address it? If you're sitting here watching all the videos and chasing after the stuff, you're lost. You're just as lost as the next person you're on the spiritual path. You think you found something? No, you're still fucking lost because you have not recognized your own simplicity and stillness. It's very simple. And like I said earlier, just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. It's very tumultuous to let go of the baggage and rest in your simplicity and stillness. It really is. It's difficult because you've been conditioned and used to and programmed your entire fucking life on how to exist one way, the suffering kind of way, the way that leads you to all this suffering shit. Well, if you want the bubbling fountain of bliss to be regularly occurring within your life, then you need to let go of all of that baggage. Well, how do you do that? It's like, oh, okay, here goes Darius again talking about prayer and meditation. Okay, fine. You can access this stillness and simplicity just in life. Because there comes a time where you could be the most meditative and prayerful person. You do it on your own in your room at night, and during the day you find time to regularly meditate, and you're very still usually, right? But then now, once you start into the action of life, into the doing of life, into the surrounding, finding yourself in surroundings and in situations and happenings and events, that's where it's more difficult to be still. That's where the temptation is there to draw you back into the reactive, non-surrendered state. So, whether Buddha would call himself as faithful is irrelevant, because he was. Being surrendered is being faithful. Talk about this in my faith video. Jesus, whether he realized he was surrendered, he's harping on faith all the time. He was surrendered. That's what the faith is. It is just you. This is the world. This is the world. Okay? You have my finger is your foot, your feet, and you're walking through life. And wherever you are the point of consciousness truth that observes its reality. And then that earth, that world is always shifting and changing. And you're just observing and occasionally interacting, but not getting caught up in it like a little bitch anymore. That's the difference. That's why the simplicity is powerful, is that you do not make yourself into the bitch anymore, chasing weak shit all the time. So if you're sitting around watching videos all day seeking yourself in these videos. Oh, this person's, even watching me, this guy's got some good stuff. I'm gonna, no, nope. There's no one outside of you that's like the ultimate master that's gonna be your guru and give you this. I can't give you something. You're like, well, you're giving me information. This information is regurgitated shit. This is the same truth that has been passed down for the generations of all of the spiritual and religious shit. It's not new. Maybe slightly worded differently. Maybe taking old terminologies and relabeling them for the modern generation. In my last video, I was talking about all of this regulating your nervous system and healing your, that is meditative, quiet, simple stillness. But you think you're gonna like relabel it as nervous system related shit. It's like five years ago. You go on YouTube, there's no regulating your nervous system stuff online. Now it's the newest trend. Well, now all these people are chasing this newest trend. I have to regulate my nervous system and I vibe with all of, fine. But that shit's just as illusory. It is. Well, no, because when I regulate my nervous system and I'm in a more quiet, meditative state, yeah, that part, yeah. But the way you're labeling it and you not being able to recognize the difference in these modern labels, in this woo-woo shit, there is a deep perception and truth that you see eventually, that all of these wordings, that all of these like whatever anyone thinks that they're speaking some profound truth, unless it's simple to the core, unless it's touching on the non-resistance and the faith and the surrender and the goodness and the union and perception and like the expansion of meditative state and all of those types of things that I ever talk, unless it's like in some way touching on those things regularly, then it's a fucking faulty teaching, man. Kind of is. Kind of is. You want the hardcore shit. Like I remember when I was younger, and I don't know how old all of you guys are. There's a wide range of like age group in my, there's like younger people that are in their late teens, maybe early 20s, and then there's older people that are, maybe in their 60s or 70s watching my videos. There's a whole swath of people, okay? So you guys have different levels of wisdom and experience and what you've gone through and how you see, okay? But when I was young, not as worldly, not as experienced, not as having endured different varieties of sufferings and things. When I was younger, I'm like, I would have this thought occasionally. It's like, what's the most advanced teaching? What's the real truth, and who's the charlatan and clown? And it's like I would read Eckhart Tolle. I'm like, this guy's hardcore. This guy's a motherfucking beacon of truth. And you read other stuff or you come across other stuff and it's like, no, this guy's a clown. But it's you don't realize that stuff till later, guys. Okay? So the simple way of living, why is it difficult? Why do people, because I want you to imagine, so you don't have to be this way, okay? There's kind of two ways to approach it, as kind of with everything that I talk about. You can have all the stuff and then realize this stuff and you're still okay with all the stuff that you have in your life. Or you can try to be more of a minimalist in your life, start eliminating stuff, external stuff, attachment to stuff, things, right? There's like, if you go on Reddit, there's a subreddit called minimalism. These people don't like having a lot of physical things because it clutters, it's kind of like this feng shui mentality, okay? You're gonna notice that your tastes change, and all of the thing, not all, but a lot of the stuff that you used to think you need to feel fulfilled or, perceived as fulfilled. It's like, guys, a lot of this mental baggage, like I want to accumulate stuff so other people can perceive me a certain way. It's a joke. It's fucking total prison. Always thinking about what other people are thinking of you. You're in this mental loop and you're ignoring the current reality of the simple stuff that's actually happening around you. So there's two ways, right? Why does Jesus say it is more difficult for like the rich man to enter heaven than, for the camel to go through the eye of a needle kind of thing, right? Why? Because when you've already accumulated all of that shit, when you're super uber rich, not even rich, guys, you don't have to be rich. You can just be middle class, lower middle class, and have a bunch of stuff. You live in a house with all these things. You have all the relationships. You have all this family baggage, all this relationship. These are things. These are the tangible things that make up your life. The constructs, mental constructs and physical constructs of your conditioned self, okay? When that stuff already exists, you've built it up, now you got to dislodge all of that. That's the bitch part. That's the difficult part. Because someone comes along and says, hey man, all the shit that you're attached to, that's deeply illusory at its most basic root level. Deeply illusory. And you're like, no, it's very real. Look, it's stuff in my life. I have all the stuff. I pay my bills. I go to work. All that shit's a joke, man. Doesn't mean that you stop doing it. It means that you start seeing the truth of how that is playing out in your life. That it's like this massive shift of like, you're caught up in the, man, I don't have this and I have this and I'm making money and I have the sex with my wife and I have my kids and you're doing all this stuff, like the householder kind of stuff. And then now you're asking me to shift my perception and be truly aware of all of that stuff in my life, all of that baggage, and it is baggage. Even if you think it's good, it's still baggage. The good or bad polarity is irrelevant. Any attachment to any kind of external or even internal baggage is baggage. And so what the simplicity is like the hot knife through butter, cuts through it, and it removing the karma. So all of your attachment to all your things, your personal desires, all of that shit's the karma. It's the gunk. It's all the conditioned shit. It's all the mental baggage. How much longer are you going to stay on that loop before you realize the advanced, simple way of being, okay? You see some guy like doesn't have anything. He has a very simple job. He's like a janitor or, some like dishwasher. Like some low-level job. He goes to work, he does his job, he earns enough money to subsist. He comes home, okay. He regularly is still. That's life, guys. That's the advanced life. Nobody wants to hear this shit though, because everybody's so balls deep chasing these like, woo, I'm gonna feel so great when I have all the things and all the experiences. Can you be content no matter what the surroundings look like? Can you be okay? And I'm not saying like content necessarily means I'm uber fucking excited and happy all the time because look at these amazing experiences all the time. No, you're not chasing that either. If they happen to show up, okay, I will blissfully participate in that. But I'm not like seeking myself in it and like pining for more of it. The drug of experiences, the jet ski of life, like I was talking about in my last video. No. Wherever you go, you are. You see. You exist. Simple. And there's a very, very powerful energy from that. People look at you like you're all fucking insane and shit. They know, like, they're like, there's something about that guy, I don't know what it is. And they recognize it and they're drawn into that energy because it's a very loving, blissful, powerful energy, or they're kind of subconsciously terrified of it and they like go the other way. That's what I mean by like, it fucks shit up. Because it's kind of like this protective force field that God places around you from within and externally. That you're kind of faithfully guided on each path, aligned perfection. We overcomplicate this shit, guys. We overcomplicate it. The advanced spiritual teaching, the advanced way of being is this like very simple shit. The virtuous shit, right? You have the 7 deadly sins and its opposite, the noble virtues, the 7 whatever they are, right? So for gluttony, it's like abstinence, or like, I don't know, whatever. Like, I know for anger, it's patience. For lust, it's abstinence or chastity, or, whatever okay. Those noble truths, not Buddha's noble truths, but like those kind of opposite of sin, noble, that if you live that way, if you're chaste or chaste, if you're like abstinent, right? Because there's a whole plethora of like semen retention shit online, right? Even that's illusory. But let's say you live the semen retention, simple kind of life. I don't go balls deep into chasing after desires. I'm not gluttonous. I'm not envious. I'm not prideful. Well, when you've removed all that shit, what's left is a very simple person, a simple dude or dudette. And to the average person, they're going to gloss over your powerful simplicity. They're not going to recognize it. If Jesus was born today and walked around, nobody would recognize him for what he was. Same thing with Buddha. Until they opened their mouth and started speaking truth. Like, you can come across anyone in reality, and like, the realized one sees the realized one, but the ignorant, vain, blind person doesn't see the realized one. They're just busy caught up in their own mental shit. So where I live right now, where I've been living for the past year or two, I go out. Nobody sees me for what I am. I keep myself masked in that way. You think I'm going up to people and just constantly spitting out the shit that I'm spitting out in this video? I don't need to do that. This is a service I'm providing to you guys. You guys don't realize this. Maybe you'll realize it when I'm gone, Not even necessarily dead, but like Darius stops putting up videos whenever. It's like, wow. It's like you're like chasing, you're like, like Dave Chappelle, like the crack addict, right? You're like, oh, look, where can I get some more of that Darius? Yeah, ooh. Like when the disciples were with Jesus, and Jesus is like, you guys are basically drunk on me. You're drunk on the fountain of what I am. And that's why he was always talking about his future death and like what was gonna happen and stuff. He's like, there's gonna come a day where I'm not around, and you're gonna be like lost little sheep, because he's the shepherd, right? Like that whole analogy and metaphor, whatever. Yeah, while your master is around, everything's great. You're deriving your sense of greatness and power from this master that you've attached yourself to, that you've associated yourself with. I'm not saying that you guys are doing that with me necessarily, or any of those things. What I'm saying is the message, any video you're watching on TV or YouTube or whatever, that's the crack hit that you're looking for too. And until you see the base of how all of that shit's working, and literally the truth of what I mean by that, until you see that for yourself, you're not going to see it, and you're going to keep chasing after. It's like I say, sucking on that tit of life. So I was doing it myself. That's how I realized that the stuff that I was doing was illusory. I'm like, oh man, if I watch enough spiritual videos from these so-called gurus and masters, if I read enough spiritual books, if I do enough stuff and this and that, then I'll eventually have enlightenment or something. Oh. And in this ironic way, it was with you the whole time. It was all it is now is just like a shift in how you see all of this weird shit that was going on. So, to reiterate and to go over it again, like I said, listen up. This is going to be the advanced shit, the simple shit, right? Where you go, you are. You're walking around, okay? Sometimes you're not walking around. Sometimes you're just sitting in your car driving. Sometimes you're sitting in your house, sitting, maybe watching a TV show, okay? If you haven't gotten to the point where you're regularly aware of your own internal state of being, the vast majority of the time, like this 90% that I talk about, there's still some illusion there within you. Okay, now why is this like amazing to know? Okay, is that if there's a lot of mental stimulus, if you at some point what you're like, whoa, is Darius saying that literally all the shit that I've been doing is just like illusory and yeah. If you actually recognize that, then the more you become internally aware, and then the more you start catching yourself doing these things, that's where the shift in perception and the transition from I'm lost in suffering to like now the non-suffering state happens. You're like, whoa, you're like, I was about to go, but then I was like, no, I don't need to because I'm already okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, kind of like that. It's kind of like breaking the addiction to chasing stuff outside of you, thinking that you're gonna find completion and yourself in anything. Anything. That's why when Buddha comes along and talks about the Four Noble Truths and basically lays it out and says, all of your desires are basically illusory, it's very, no one wants to let go of their desires. I'm not saying fully let, you don't, he's just saying, unless you see the workings of all of that, unless you simplify your life to the extent that you can see all of that, then you're still chasing the tit. How fun is that? So fun. Even looking for fun. Even looking and seeking fun. It's just, man, that is boring. Like, you get off of work on a Friday night and you're like, well, why does everybody else have a partner and I don't have, it's so hard. I saw this video, I didn't even watch the video, but like I saw the screenshot, the thumbnail. She's like, it's really hard being a single woman on a Friday night. Cry me a river. Oh, all these beautiful single women on a Friday night. Oh no. Because everyone's out having a good time. They're going clubbing. Woo! They meet their guy that night. Woo! I'm going to go home and get a good fuck out of me. Woo! We're going to get a good lay. It's going to be a good time. Yeah. All that shit's like, doesn't mean that you can't do that stuff. But you don't make yourself into a weak bitch chasing that stuff. All these people that are going out to the clubs and bars and desperately seeking fulfillment in another partner and seeking sexual experiences or physical experiences or trying to elevate their status by association. Like, if I find the right guy, he has money and then I can get to do all that shit is the weakest, bitch, insecure way of being. Do you see that? All you're doing is literally out there screaming out your insecurities. Hey, notice me. Am I cute? Can we go like, can I have fun with you? Are you fun? Do you have the stuff that's gonna make my life fun? That's why I was talking about the idea of a soulmate, right? And how that can be illusory, but like I kind of ascribe to that. This woman that's gonna come into, she has to be the most badass bitch. She has to be so okay with herself and so okay with me that she's not demanding. She's like, Darius, you don't have the money and you don't have, she has to be the most advanced, beautiful, spiritual soul to get me. Like I'm some kind of a prize. No, I will not lower myself. If I were to go out and start getting into relationships and like casually sharing myself, you guys, like someone that comes across me, like not to sound vain or super prideful, like arrogant, right? You get a taste of me in your life. I know I'm the highest blessing. You guys realize, like, that's called having the truest standards and confidence within yourself. Everyone out here, like, you know, you're chasing after your ex and like, oh my God, and just let it go, man. That's why they tell you in these relationship videos, like, have some, you know, the kind of like the good pride, because I say pride's bad, but have some pride. Like, I know what I am. Or it's like you start, but then there's an illusory thing, and it's like you start evaluating everybody as like, oh, they're just not worthy of me. I'm just, no, you don't elevate yourself beyond that either. You're very firm in understanding of what you are. You're not the biggest ignorant piece of shit. You're also the not most, you know, vanity, God of all. You're not any, you're perfectly balanced and simple. And in that place, you're a good fucking time. You're fun to be around. You lift people's spirits. You're naturally more charismatic and fun. You know, you're interesting. You know how like those Dos Equis commercials, the most interesting man on the planet? If I were to sit with people, like let's say I come across, I can do this too. I can go out and see a group of people, okay? They're all having a good time. I can inject myself into that little group and have fun with them and be the life of the party and speak some simple, subtle truths and blow their fucking minds and be the most interesting guy in the fucking room anywhere I go. You have that power too. And it's not like you're not consciously trying to be, how am I going to be super witty and charismatic? And no, because within the trying of, I'm going to try to be witty, I'm going to try to be fun, that's an illusion too. That's inauthentic. Your most simple way of being, this powerful force of energy that you are, that shit like is so gravitational. That's the true law of attraction. It's the true magnetism. So you pining for the law of attraction videos, and I've claimed the energy, you write the comments, and I want all the stuff, keep sucking on that tit, man. See where it gets you. There's no simplicity in that. You think you're gonna learn all the different techniques? You're like, I've learned how to manifest. Hey, here's the secret to life, guys. Manifestation. And you don't realize that you are literally manifesting all the time without you ever trying. And the moment that you start trying to manifest, you're actually blocking yourself from your manifestations. Wow. Anything that ever happened in your life, did you really try for that stuff to happen in your life? Like when the most amazing things came in, did they just kind of drop in out of nowhere? Or were you chasing the tit? Were you trying to like, mommy, I want the thing, I want the beautiful girl, I want the beautiful guy, please. When you're out there chasing, most of the time, don't you think that that shit falls into ruin for yourself? Oh, that guy he wasn't the right guy, and she wasn't the right gal. Oh no, my life is ruined. And you get all torn up inside and it fucks your shit up. I'll say again, how much of a bitch are you that you need to keep chasing these things? And you can't just be simple and let it all go. It's like, oh, so much easier said than done. Just let it all go. Well, yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it takes like a lifetime to realize this shit. About to turn 45 this summer. I didn't realize this shit until my early 40s. I'm 45 years old. And if I mentally sit with that thought, I can let it drive me up the wall. Well, half my life is over, if not more, right? Let's say I live the average age of 75 or 80 or 85, whatever it is. It's like more than half of my life is over. Oh no. Oh no, midlife crisis. You're always the genius design of what God is and how he creates us and perpetuates us. You're always moving on within the concept of time, if there, because there's no time either. You're moving on to the next thing in your soul's evolution. We don't know what lies beyond the earth plane. There might be other multi-dimensional places that we incarnate into. I think, and I've mentioned this, but I think maybe that's kind of what the aliens that are out there are kind of pointing to too, indirectly. Because what soul exists in the alien? It has to be some kind of an advanced, because these are advanced beings. They just observe us. They're looking at the earth plane and they're like, wow, look at these people. They're kind of more, closer to their animalistic nature. Well, maybe the next step of your reincarnated evolution, when you graduate from the earth plane and you've realized yourself and you've mastered yourself to an extent, you're like, God's like, hey man, you did a good job in that, all those earth plane lives, however many, hundreds, thousands, millions of lives, who knows how many lives you've had or we've had. You did a good job. You graduated. Now you get to go incarnate into some other life form and do that 1,000 more times. Who knows? We don't know. And anyone that tells you this is how it happened and this is how it is has no fucking clue. Because we can't, any way that you're labeling it within a mental construct, a human mind, is just going to be related to human concepts. You don't know the aliens' concepts because it's for the alien to know. They still exist within a typical three-dimensional reality, but they've discovered the advanced things scientifically and all this stuff that we are still yet to not have this, that have not discovered yet, right? Just like how thousands of years ago, all of these scientific truths existed. It's just that they hadn't been discovered yet. Like electricity and, Einstein's formulas, right? Like the laws of relativity, Newton's physics. These things existed when the ancient Greeks and Romans and Egyptians and Sumerians and Akkadians, all these people, these civilizations, those truths existed back then. We just hadn't gotten to a place where we realized them and understood them mentally, scientifically. Well, that's the same thing with the aliens. How they perceive the scientific knowledge and stuff that they, even internally, maybe they've advanced there too. Maybe their advancement spiritually is what unlocked all of these super advanced scientific principles. We don't know. I said, like, we're going to keep sciencing our lives into better and better outcomes. But what use is that if you're being traumatized by chasing after all of this stupid shit? And then also, the more simple you become, you kind of let go of all of these, like, what we think are advanced ways of existing right now. You think you're gonna like find yourself in having like this like house that's super decked out in like AI or like electrical appliances, and like the lights automatically come on and the shades automatically roll up and down and the thermostat automatically keeps tabs of this, and yeah, all these things are nice and like it's okay. Maybe you eventually have them, fine. But thinking that like you're the shit because you have these amazing toys and these amazing houses and like I go on the yacht and I go on, like, man. It's like, hey, did you hear? Joe got invited to go to that yacht party where all the celebrities. Oh, he did? Oh, hey, Joe, you might even call Joe. What was it like, getting to meet all these amazing, oh, hey, guess what, guys? They're people like you and me. And we've elevated them. And that's why they're the celeb, because we've elevated them beyond their standings of being just a human because of what they do and how much money they have. And because we have this kind of weird third party voyeuristic kind of thing that we do by we put these people on pedestals because we watch them on our TV screens because we're so utterly lacking within ourselves. You can never be as cool as this amazing celebrity. No, never. Never. No, man. You need to see people for what they are. People. Human. No one less, no one more. Doesn't matter what work you do. Doesn't matter whether you're the biggest bum-ass motherfucker on the planet. You're a homeless bum on the street. You are just as equal as me. Just as beautiful as me. You may not realize your own beauty. You might let yourself get taken to shit. You might not have the standards of being and simplicity and joy. You might not have those things. But guess what? This life is always teaching you that. Sooner or later, you're going to see it. Sooner or later.